You spend roughly one-third of your entire life asleep, and somehow most of what you believe about it is wrong. The spiders, the magic 8 hours, the billionaire 5 a.m. routine, the farmers invented daylight saving time? Excuse, the warm milk sedative fantasy. 40 lies about sleep, dreams, and that clock change that keeps messing with your brain. Some are harmless. Some quietly wreck your health. We are tearing all of them apart. 1. You swallow exactly 8 spiders a year while sleeping with your mouth open. This terrifying statistic has ruined millions of bedtimes, but I am happy to tell you it is a total scam. To an innocent spider, your gaping, snoring mouth is essentially a terrifying, vibrating cavern of hot wind. They have absolutely zero desire to go spelunking in your esophagus. Arachnids actively avoid humans because our heartbeats and breathing feel like catastrophic earthquakes to them. The funniest part is that this rumor was allegedly made up in the 90s, specifically to prove how gullible internet users are. Unless you are treating spiders like a midnight snack, your mouth is perfectly safe. 2. Dying in your dream means your physical body will instantly die in real life. This sounds like the plot of a deeply mediocre retro horror movie, and it holds the exact same amount of scientific truth. For starters, this is literally impossible to prove because nobody has ever woken up dead to confirm the theory. People virtually bite the dust in their nightmares constantly, whether they are getting crushed by giant pianos or falling off infinite skyscrapers. Yet, they always wake up sweaty, annoyed, and very much alive. Your brain is just running a highly advanced chaotic stress simulator. When you hit the ground in that falling dream, it just violently jolts you awake. 3. Hitting the snooze button gives your body a nice little bonus round of high-quality rest. Look, I get it. That button feels like a lifesaver at 6 in the morning. But it is actually a total biological trap. When you drift back off for those measly 9 minutes, your brain immediately tries to start a brand new deep sleep cycle. But before you can actually get any real rest, the alarm violently yanks you back out of it. Scientists call this sleep inertia, and it basically leaves you feeling way more groggy and miserable than if you just got up the first time. You are basically teasing your brain with the idea of rest and then ripping it away. Just roll out of bed and save yourself the misery. 4. Your dreams are just super fast lightning flashes that only happen seconds before your alarm goes off. People honestly used to believe the mind just threw a quick burst of random images at you right as you woke up. But researchers have hooked sleepers up to monitors and proven that dreams play out in normal real time. If you spend 10 whole minutes running away from a giant walking taco in your dream, it literally took your brain 10 minutes to build and process that ridiculous scenario. Over the course of a normal night, you actually spend roughly 2 hours dreaming. You are sitting through a feature-length cinematic movie inside your own head every single night. 5. Eating a massive pile of turkey is guaranteed to knock you out because it is packed with a rare sleep chemical. We all blame the poor turkey for that famous holiday food coma. But the bird is completely innocent. Yes, turkey contains tryptophan, an amino acid linked to sleep. But here is the wild part. Chicken and cheese actually have way more of it than turkey does, and you never pass out after eating a basic chicken sandwich. What actually makes you violently sleepy is the insane amount of carbohydrates you just shoveled into your face. Piling mashed potatoes, bread, and pie into your stomach causes a massive blood sugar crash. Your body is just shutting down to digest carbs. 6. Waking up at 5 in the morning is the ultimate biological secret to becoming an incredibly successful billionaire. Every single internet guru tries to shame you for sleeping past sunrise, claiming your alarm clock is the only thing standing between you and a luxury yacht. But human chronotypes are literally hardwired into our genetics. If you are naturally a night owl, forcing yourself out of a warm bed at dawn does not make you a productive genius. It actually just makes you chronically sleep-deprived, miserable, and scientifically slower at solving problems. Success has absolutely nothing to do with what arbitrary hour you drag yourself to the coffee machine. 7. The entire reason we shift our clocks is to help hardworking farmers harvest their crops. If you actually ask a farmer about this, They will tell you they absolutely despise the time change. Cows do not own wristwatches, and morning dew does not evaporate based on government mandates. Daylight saving time first gained traction during World War I as an energy-saving experiment. And later, plenty of businesses loved the brighter evenings because people stayed out and spent more money. Do not blame the innocent people growing your potatoes. The cows were never consulted. 8. People born blind only dream in endless black nothingness. That sounds logical until you remember your brain does not need eyeballs to hallucinate. If someone was born without sight, their dreams are still intense, layered, and cinematic. They just run on sound, touch, smell, and emotion instead of visuals. Imagine hearing footsteps behind you, feeling wind against your face, smelling rain in the air. The experience is just as vivid as yours. The brain uses whatever tools it has to build the show. 9. Having a quick alcoholic drink before bed is the perfect way to get a solid, incredibly deep night of sleep. A lot of people swear by a nightcap to wind down, but it is actually the ultimate biological sleep scam. Sure, a glass of wine might knock you out faster because it makes you drowsy, but it totally ruins the second half of your night. Your body spends the whole time trying to process the drink, which completely blocks you from getting into the crucial restorative stages of sleep. Instead of waking up refreshed, you wake up tired, dehydrated, and probably annoyed at your alarm clock. You are trading a fast drop-off for a terrible quality of rest. Stick to water. 10. You can easily train your body to survive and thrive on just 4 hours of sleep if you drink enough coffee and push through. Every hustle culture guru loves selling this idea, but biology says otherwise. Unless you belong to the incredibly tiny fraction of the population with a super rare genetic mutation, you simply cannot cheat sleep. Trying to train yourself to sleep less does not make you more efficient, it just makes you chronically exhausted. Your brain starts functioning incredibly slowly, your reaction time drops, and your memory turns to absolute mush. You do not get used to it, you just forget what it feels like to be fully awake and sharp. Go to bed. 11. Eating super spicy food right before going to bed will magically cause you to have terrifying nightmares. Those spicy noodles you ate at midnight are not cursed. Spicy food does not contain some kind of secret nightmare chemical. What it actually does is raise your core body temperature and cause some pretty wild indigestion. This physical discomfort makes your sleep really restless, meaning you wake up a bunch of times during the night. Because you keep waking up right in the middle of your sleep cycles, you are just way more likely to remember the crazy dreams you were already having anyway. The hot sauce did not create the monster in your dream, it just gave you a stomachache. 12. Going to sleep means your brain completely powers down like you just closed the lid of a laptop. We imagine sleep as a biological off switch, but your brain is actually throwing an absolute rave up there while you snooze. In fact, during certain stages of sleep, your mind is significantly more active than when you are awake and sitting at your desk. It is frantically busy flushing out toxic waste proteins, repairing damaged cells, and organizing a chaotic filing system of all your daily memories. It literally acts like a nighttime janitor, making sure you do not lose your mind the next day. If your brain actually fully shut off when you went to bed, you would just be dead. 13. Arizona and Hawaii magically broke the global time grid and just refused to change their clocks. People treat this fact like some weird government conspiracy, but it is actually a highly logical choice. They do not have an invisible shield blocking the time change, they just politely opted out of the madness. Hawaii is so close to the equator that their daylight barely changes all year, making the shift totally pointless. Arizona is literally a giant desert oven in the summer, so giving everyone an extra hour of blistering evening sun sounded like pure torture. They simply passed a local law to ignore the nonsense. While we stumble around exhausted, they are chilling. 14. You can fix 5 days of terrible sleep by hibernating until noon on Saturday. That is not how biology works. Your body is not a savings account where you can deposit missing hours with interest. Oversleeping on the weekend actually slaps your circadian rhythm in the face and creates what scientists call social jet lag. So Monday morning feels like you flew across 3 time zones without leaving your bedroom. You are not recovering. You are confusing your brain. 15. People who talk in their sleep are spilling their deepest, most guarded secrets straight from their subconscious. If you have ever been terrified of talking in your sleep, relax. Sleep talking is almost never a hidden truth or dramatic confession. It is basically your brain misfiring signals to your vocal cords while it sorts through absolute nonsense. You might shout about a purple toaster or mumble about needing more cheese, but it means nothing. Nobody in a courtroom is treating your midnight mumbling like a confession, because it is widely understood to be random brain noise. Do not bother taking notes to confront your partner tomorrow. 16. The springtime change is completely harmless and just a fun little trick to give us longer, sunnier afternoons. That lost hour of sleep is not just cosmetic. Research has linked the week after we spring forward to noticeable bumps in traffic accidents and measurable increases in certain heart-related risks. Scientists still debate how large the overall impact is, but even a small shift in sleep can throw your internal clock into chaos. Millions of people suddenly wake up earlier than their bodies expect, and the result is a nationwide wave of groggy, distracted humans operating heavy machinery and motor vehicles. All because we decided to argue with the sun. 17. Popping a melatonin gummy is exactly like taking a heavy prescription sleeping pill that knocks you out cold. We all treat these sweet little supplements like a guaranteed knockout punch, fully expecting to pass out in 5 minutes. But melatonin is absolutely not a sedative. It is actually just a natural hormone that acts like a biological clock manager, gently tapping your brain on the shoulder to say it is getting dark outside. Taking a massive dose right before you want to sleep actually confuses your internal clock and leaves you staring at the ceiling feeling weirdly wired. If you take it while staring at a bright phone screen, your brain completely ignores it anyway. 18. Your incredibly weird dreams are actually secret psychic visions trying to predict your future. We all love to wake up and search the internet for what dreaming about falling teeth means for our upcoming job interview. But your brain is not an ancient mystic gazing into a crystal ball. Dreams are just your subconscious throwing all the random stressful garbage from your week into a blender and hitting the start button. If you dream about failing a test, it does not mean you are going to get fired tomorrow. It just means you are currently stressed out, and your brain is awkwardly processing that emotion. There is absolutely zero magical prophecy happening in your head. 19. If your roommate starts sleepwalking, they are definitely just acting out whatever wild dream they are currently having. It makes total sense visually, but biologically, it is completely backwards. Sleepwalking almost never happens during the specific stage where your brain is busy making crazy cinematic dreams. During actual dreaming, your body paralyzes your muscles on purpose so you do not jump off the bed while dreaming about flying. Sleepwalking actually happens during the deepest, totally dreamless stages of the night. Your body gets confused and partially wakes up your motor skills while keeping your consciousness switched off. Their brain is just glitching in the dark. 20. Shifting our clocks twice a year dramatically reduces our modern electricity bills. This was the big selling point decades ago, but modern research paints a much messier picture. In some regions, the lighting savings are tiny, and in others, the extra air conditioning in summer and heating in early mornings actually pushes overall energy use higher. So while we might flip off a lamp for an hour in the evening, we quietly crank up something else to compensate. The grand plan to save the planet with a clock twist turns out to be a lot less impressive than advertised. 21. Snoring means you are experiencing the deepest, most restful sleep biologically possible. It sounds peaceful in old cartoons, but in reality, snoring is essentially your airway struggling to do its one basic job. Rather than proving you are resting soundly, that loud chainsaw noise means your breathing is partially obstructed. The vibration happens because air is fighting its way through a collapsed throat space. Chronic snoring is often a massive red flag for sleep apnea, which actually repeatedly jolts your brain awake out of deep sleep just to keep you breathing. The person rattling the windows is fighting an invisible, noisy battle for oxygen all night long. 22. Crashing on the couch for a massive 3-hour afternoon nap will totally fix your terrible sleep schedule. We all absolutely love a giant weekend snooze, but a mega nap is basically going to ruin your life later that night. When you sleep that long during the day, your brain drops straight into heavy, deep sleep mode. Waking up from that leaves you feeling like a confused zombie who forgot what century it is. Plus, you are stealing away your sleep drive for the upcoming night, guaranteeing you will be staring at the dark ceiling at 2 in the morning. If you are totally exhausted, limit your naps to 20 minutes to get a quick battery boost without wrecking your night. 23. You can easily learn to speak fluent Spanish by playing audio lessons while you are asleep. In the 90s, companies made millions selling sleep tapes promising you would wake up bilingual. Unfortunately, your sleeping brain is not a magical download machine. While it can register that a sound is happening in the room, it does not build strong new language skills while you are unconscious. At best, you might absorb a faint familiarity with a sound, but you are definitely not mastering verb conjugations in your dreams. Mostly you are just wrecking your sleep quality with background noise. 24. Insomnia strictly means you stare at the ceiling for hours because you physically cannot fall asleep. Most people think insomnia is just standing at the starting line of sleep and never taking off, but it is way sneakier than that. You can pass out the exact second your head hits the pillow and still have massive insomnia. Waking up randomly at 3 in the morning and not being able to drift off again totally counts. Waking up way too early before your alarm, or just having super broken, terrible quality sleep all fall under the exact same medical label. It is not just about falling asleep fast. It is about failing to stay unconscious long enough to actually feel rested. 25. Springing the clocks forward magically creates extra daylight for us to enjoy in the summer. It sounds completely insane when you say it out loud, yet millions of people secretly feel like the government is extending the sun's lifespan. Shifting a plastic dial on your kitchen wall does not alter the rotation of the actual planet. The Earth is going to give you the exact same amount of solar radiation, whether you call it 6 in the evening or 7. We are literally just lying to ourselves and agreeing to wake up an hour earlier, so we do not have to admit we are waking up earlier. We did not trap extra sunshine in a bottle. We just universally agreed to be bad at math. 26. Counting fluffy sheep jumping over a wooden fence is the ultimate mental trick to cure insomnia. This adorable ancient advice is actively sabotaging your ability to fall asleep. Sleep researchers have actually put this farm animal theory to the test and discovered that counting sheep takes way too much brain power. Visualizing moving animals and keeping a running mathematical tally keeps your mind way too active and engaged to drift off. Instead of relaxing, you are giving your tired brain an unwanted arithmetic homework assignment. Imagining a calm, static environment like a quiet beach or a gentle waterfall puts people to sleep much faster. Ditch the mental livestock immediately. 27. Falling asleep with your favorite sitcom blasting on the television is the ultimate way to help your brain shut down. It feels incredibly cozy to drift off to the sound of familiar voices, but it is actually a massive disaster for your sleep quality. The bright blue light shining from the screen totally tricks your brain into thinking the sun is still up, which stops your body from releasing sleep hormones. Even worse, the sudden loud commercial breaks and laughing tracks constantly pull you out of deep sleep cycles without you even realizing it. You might think you are out cold, but your brain is secretly staying on high alert tracking the background noise. Turn off the screen. 28. If you wake up with zero memory of your dreams, it simply means your brain took the night off and did not create any. Every single person dreams multiple times a night, usually totaling about 2 hours of pure, subconscious cinema. The only reason you think your brain was blank is because your memory recording system effectively shuts down while you snooze. Dreams are incredibly fragile data files. Unless you wake up right in the middle of a vivid sequence and immediately focus on it, your brain just deletes the file the second you open your eyes. You're having wild, spectacular adventures every single night. Your brain just refuses to hit the save button before morning. 29. The entire planet unanimously changes its clocks twice a year in a beautiful display of global synchronization. In reality, the vast majority of the world thinks this concept is utterly ridiculous. Less than 40% of countries actually observe this weird time jump. Nations near the equator experience consistent sunlight year-round, so shifting clocks makes absolutely no logical sense for them. Huge parts of Asia, Africa, and South America completely ignore this practice, operating on steady, normal time while the rest of us stumble around confused. We are actually part of a weird, groggy minority participating in a giant, totally unnecessary time travel experiment. 30. Benjamin Franklin scientifically invented daylight saving time because he was a brilliant visionary mapping out the future. This is maybe the funniest historical lie out there, because Franklin was literally just making a sarcastic joke. While living in Paris, he wrote a hilarious, mocking letter to a journal, saying the French were super lazy and slept away the morning sun. He jokingly suggested firing cannons at sunrise to wake everyone up so they would stop wasting expensive candles at night. He never actually proposed changing the physical clocks. It was a satirical roast of Parisian sleeping habits, but politicians eventually took it seriously and turned his joke into reality. 31. If you dream about a specific person, it means they were actively thinking about you before they went to sleep. I hate to break it to you, but your crush is not using telepathy to beam themselves into your midnight thoughts. Your brain is essentially a giant, messy filing cabinet of memories. When you fall asleep, it just randomly pulls out files to build a weird movie. You dreamt about your third-grade math teacher, or that guy from the coffee shop simply because you saw them. Or your brain just got bored and threw a random face onto a character. Dreams are not magical wireless connections between souls. It is just your subconscious playing around with familiar faces. 32. Drinking a warm glass of milk before bed acts as a powerful biological sedative because of a magical chemical. Generations of parents have microwaved milk, believing it is a guaranteed knockout potion. While milk does contain a tiny bit of sleep-inducing amino acids, the amount is so unbelievably small that it cannot biologically affect your brain chemistry. You would have to drink an absolute ocean of warm milk to actually make you drowsy, and by then, your bursting bladder would definitely keep you awake. The truth is much simpler. The psychological routine of sipping something cozy just signals to your brain that it is time to relax. It is a comforting placebo, not medicine. 33. Once you get older, you magically stop needing a full night of rest because senior citizens are natural early birds. This is a massive cultural myth that leaves a ton of older adults feeling completely miserable and chronically exhausted. Your biological need for rest barely changes at all once you hit adulthood. An 80-year-old still deeply needs the exact same 7 to 8 hours as a 25-year-old. The real problem is that aging changes how your body handles sleep, making it way harder to stay unconscious. Random joint pains and medication side effects constantly wake older people up, forcing them out of bed early, simply because they cannot get comfortable again. 34. Most normal people dream entirely in black and white, and only creative geniuses see color. This myth exploded during the black and white television era, when people actually started reporting grayscale dreams like their brains were stuck on an old channel. Funny how that works. Once color screens took over the world, the monochrome dreams practically disappeared. Turns out your brain does not downgrade itself to vintage mode. It builds your midnight movies in full high definition, whether you are an artist or not. 35. Doing a hardcore workout right before bed will drain your energy and instantly cure your insomnia. It seems like a brilliant strategy until you actually try it and end up staring at the ceiling with a wildly racing heart. Hitting the gym late at night is basically chugging an invisible energy drink. Heavy exercise floods your entire nervous system with adrenaline, spikes your core body temperature, and signals to your brain that it is time to fight or run away. You are essentially telling your body we are in terrible danger, and then politely asking it to drift off to sleep. Your internal engine needs hours to cool down. Read a boring book instead of lifting weights. 36. We still change our clocks twice a year, specifically to keep little kids safe while waiting for the morning school bus. People throw this emotional excuse around all the time, but it totally falls apart the second you look at a calendar. In the dead of winter, when mornings are the absolute darkest and freezing, we are actually on standard time anyway. If we kept daylight saving time all year round, kids in a lot of places would literally be standing at the bus stop in pitch-black darkness until 9 in the morning. Using kids as an excuse to keep this weird tradition alive is just a massive guilt trip to stop us from questioning why we still mess with the sun. 37. Waking a sleepwalker will trigger a massive heart attack or permanently scramble their brain. This old-school medical superstition is completely backwards. If your roommate is casually trying to fry a sneaker on the stove at 3 in the morning, letting them continue is significantly more dangerous than tapping them on the shoulder. Yes, shaking someone out of a deep sleepwalk will leave them incredibly grumpy, highly confused, and thoroughly disoriented, but their heart will be just fine. Ideally, you should gently guide them back to their mattress to avoid an awkward conversation. But if they are about to wander into traffic, wake them up immediately. Panic is better than danger. 38. Waking up randomly in the middle of the night means your sleep cycle is completely shattered. People panic the second they open their eyes at 3 in the morning, convinced their night is ruined. But brief awakenings are actually a totally normal part of human biology. Your sleep is broken into chunks, and between these cycles your brain naturally peeks its head up just to make sure your bedroom is not on fire. Historically, our ancestors woke up constantly to check for predators. The problem only starts when you grab your phone to check the time, get blasted by a bright screen, and trigger a massive wave of anxiety. Stop panicking, roll over, and let biology do its job. 39. Sleeping. Curled up in the fetal position proves you are secretly a highly sensitive and anxious person. Magazine quizzes love to tell you that how you sleep reveals your deepest psychological secrets. They claim sleeping on your back means you are a natural leader, while sleeping on your stomach makes you a control freak. This is absolute pure nonsense with zero scientific backing. You sleep in whatever position keeps your joints from hurting and stops your arm from going totally numb. It is entirely about physical comfort, mattress quality, and whether your pillow feels like a concrete block. Your subconscious is not trying to send secret personality messages through your posture. 40. Every single adult requires exactly 8 hours of uninterrupted sleep to function normally. We have all stared at the ceiling doing panicked, middle-of-the-night math because of this rigid rule. In reality, human biology is not a strict subscription service. That famous 8-hour mark is just a crude average, not a divine law of nature. Some people are genetically wired to thrive on 6 hours, while others need 10 just to string a coherent sentence together. Furthermore, before the Industrial Revolution, humans usually slept in 2 separate shifts. Ironically, the sheer anxiety of not hitting that magical, arbitrary 8-hour quota is exactly what keeps you awake anyway. Now you know your brain never powers down, your dreams are not psychic messages, 8 hours is not a sacred rule, and the time change is not some innocent seasonal tradition. But here is the real question. What did we miss? What sleep myth are you still holding onto that did not make this list? Drop it in the comments and defend it. If this video shattered at least one belief you carried for years, hit like so more people wake up, and subscribe if you prefer uncomfortable facts over bedtime fairy tales.